Welcome to another episode from EduExcel on education and the teaching of religion. Today we'll explore how education shapes values in the society, emphasizing the importance of secularism and inclusivity. We'll discuss perspectives from influential thinkers like Lala Lajpat Rai, who championed education as a tool for national unity and moral development, and how modern policies like NEP 2020 upholds these principles by promoting a secular, respectful learning environment. Join us as we delve into the role of education in fostering understanding, tolerance, and shared human values in a diverse society. Education and religion. Lajpat Rai was opposed to any attempt to encumber educational system with compulsory imposition of religious texts and theological polemics and forcing them on young boys and girls of the nation. He, however, did not negate the role of religion in helping them imbibe values of discipline and self-control, righteousness and truthfulness, and giving them preliminary grounding in ethics and morality. Religion, in the true sense of the term, was synonymous with the highest ethical principles. It did not connote empty observance of rituals and outer forms of sacrifices. He continued to argue that acquaintance with the broad religious principles was one thing, but burdening pupils with subtleties of dogma in the scheme of studies was quite another. The recourse to the latter would retard the eventual development of scientific temper, mainly manly vigor, and sturdy habits among them. It would produce a habit of mind minim, minimical to the growth of composite personality. Before they had grown into men and women, it would be wrong and dangerous to engage them in religious and theological polemics, to constantly din into their ears that this world was unreal and illusionary, or that secular things and secular interests were of no importance as against religious aestheticism. Similarly, the indiscriminate placing of books of theology in the hands of immature, unripe youths would only give rise to the mistaken view of life in them. He had been witness to split in the Arya Samaj in 1893 between progressive and dogmatic groups. This was due to the conflicting attitudes the two groups bore on the problems of theology, Sanskrit studies, and vegetarianism. As the one belonging to the progressive group, he did not like the Arya Samajist schools and colleges to be the centers of theological studies. Rather, he pleaded for a rationalistic approach and intellectual freedom in the teaching institutions. To him, even the teachings of Dayanand was not infallible. Not the outer form, but the essence of religion was what he was interested in. He was opposed to making mythologies as the basis of education because they were found to be inimical to the imperatives of a progressive society. The education attuned to the needs of the people, he asserted, must include the teaching of science and technology. It would indeed be an added benefit if some Vedic hymns or some extracts from the mythological text pointing to the essence of sacrifice and renunciation, beauty and mellifluence of nature, dignity of man, and virtue of vegetarian society were recited and memorized by the students. Education was a process of drawing out the best in man. The purpose of education was to produce thought rather than belief. Education ought to foster among children the wish for truth, not the conviction that a particular creed was the truth. In a similar spirit, the National Education Policy (NEP 2020) upholds a secular framework in education, discouraging formal religious instruction in schools and colleges. It promotes inclusive, value based learning rooted in India's pluralistic cultural heritage and diverse knowledge systems. NEP 2020 seeks to foster moral, ethical, and character development while respecting all religions without privileging or propagating anyone in the educational syllabus. This ensures that education remains a space for harmony, unity, and the holistic growth of students as responsible citizens. Together, Lala Lajpat Rai's vision and NEP 2020's approach converge on the principle that religion and teaching, when approached, should promote tolerance, peace, and cultural understanding rather than division or religious dominance. They endorse education as a means of nurturing a secular, democratic, and inclusive society where every individual's rights and beliefs are respected. Thank you for joining us in today's podcast as we explore the perspectives on teaching religion through the lenses of Lala Lajpat Rai and the National Education Policy 2020. We have seen how both emphasize education's role in fostering secularism, inclusivity, and mutual respect, steering clear of religious propaganda while nurturing moral values and national unity. We hope this will spark thoughtful reflections on how education shapes not only knowledge but also the harmony of our diverse society. Stay curious, stay open minded, and keep seeking knowledge that builds bridges. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with others who care about education and our collective future. Until next time, thank you for listening and take care.